Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in. But we're just glad you're here to learn a little bit about using your data profile dashboard. This is the first in the three-part series that's happening this week, and we'll give you a little bit more information on that in just a minute. But first, I wanted to do a just introduction of myself. I'm Suzanne Speer. I'm the Senior Director of Workforce Development here at ACU, and glad you're with us today. Before we go ahead and get started, I would like to just acknowledge that this presentation was created on and is being given from unceded territories of the Monacan people in Richmond, Virginia. We humbly offer gratitude and respect to the elders past and present, and all Indigenous peoples that are historically and contemporarily tied to the lands that make up Richmond, Virginia. And just some housekeeping items to finish up the introduction here. So our session is being recorded. It will be sent to you via email along with the slides since you're registered for this event. It will also be posted on our website within a few days to about a week, so you can catch the recording there as well. Feel free to use the chat box to ask questions and share comments. You can utilize the drop down under the two to go to all panelists and participants, so everyone can see those comments there. Feel free to contact Mariah Blake, who is our program manager, if you're having any technical difficulties or issues there. And please make sure that you complete the evaluation at the end of the session. So for those of you who are new to ACU, or the Association of Clinicians for the Underserved, ACU is a national nonprofit organization founded 25 years ago by alumni of the National Health Service Corps. We've changed over the years, but our mission remains the same, and that is access to quality primary care in underserved communities and the support of clinicians that are serving in those communities. The recruitment and retention of a transdisciplinary team is really the road to achieving those goals. We have several programs. You can read all about them on our website, which is clinicians.org, but a couple I just want to highlight for you guys. So we have a suicide prevention and primary care program. It's a training program that we have. We also offer vision services grants, and we offer networking opportunities at our annual conference, which is coming up the first part of November. And actually, there's still time to submit an abstract there in case you're excited and want to share anything that you're highlighting at your health center or organization about health equity in today's world. So one of our programs, is actually our biggest program, is our STAR Center. And STAR Center stands for Solutions, Training, and Assistance for Recruitment and Retention. It's actually a national cooperative agreement funded by the Bureau of Primary Health Care. It was originally awarded to us in 2014. So we're in our 7th year of delivering training and technical assistance around all things recruitment and retention. We are one of 21 national training and technical assistance partners, as we're now known as NTAPs. And again, all of the tools and resources that we develop that we're going to talk about today, which is our data profile, and there are a ton of others that are available for free, absolutely free. Nothing required of you other than just to go to our website, which is chcworkforce.org. We deliberately have our national training and technical assistance partner work on a separate website from our clinicians.org website, so that you just, we delineate that so everything there you see is free and available for you. We are also available for one-on-one technical assistance about anything relating to things on our website or clinical workforce recruitment and retention. So we also wanted to put that info at box there, just so you can contact us at any time, and we'll be more than happy to set up some time with you to chat about, like I said, any of our resources or any other things, that questions you have. So as I mentioned at the top of this hour, this is a series about using your data profile dashboard. Today is going to be an overview of that resource and a little bit about the history and why we have our data profile dashboards. Tomorrow, you're going to be hearing from one of our partners, actually two of our partners, from John Snow Incorporated, Pamela Burns and Alexia Eslon, and they're going to be talking to you guys about using data to inform your workforce efforts. And then on Thursday, we are going to hear from Eric Turer, and he is going to talk, have a demo of a data profile dashboard and talk a little bit about the new features that we have on there this year, because things have changed a little bit. They change a little bit every year, and we're excited to showcase those and talk to you a little bit about during the series about how you can use the power of data to inform your workforce efforts. So we're here to talk about workforce data, right? Well, at the Star Center, we believe that workforce is really, honestly, just the fuel for your health center organizational efforts. Quite simply, if we didn't have a health center workforce, health centers wouldn't be able to see the patients and do what they're there and designed to do. So by having a full fuel tank of workforce, a health center identifies workforce as an essential organizational issue, invests appropriate operational and staffing resources, and has some key features. They might look a little bit different at every organization, but these key features, or core components, as we like to call them, of a robust health center workforce remains. There are various areas of these core components, but obviously the one we are here to talk about is really around data and having a data-informed workforce plan. And so really what that means is that your health center, by having a data-informed workforce plan, uses organizational, human resource, and community data to help develop a realistic and dynamic plan for staffing. And I want to sort of put in two pieces and pull out two pieces from this. So first of all, when you talk about having a workforce plan, you want to make sure that it's realistic. Is it attainable? Can you actually do what you say you're going to do? And dynamic. It should not be something that you put on a shelf, right? It should be something that is ever changing. And just like your data is ever changing, so should your plan to respond to that data. And so as we go along today and we talk about the resource that are our data profile dashboards, think about that and really just sort of let that soak in, excuse me, that by utilizing the data, you can really figure out what your health center is capable of doing, and then, but at the same time, being willing and able to really change on a moment's notice when you need to. Because we really, at ACU and the Star Center, we love this quote, because honestly, without data, you're just another person with your opinion. You can put together the best, the biggest and best workforce plan, or really anything in place. But if you don't have the data to back it up, then it's just, you're just another person with words. And this is especially important when we're talking to leadership about different initiatives when it relates to workforce. Because honestly, when you have that data and it's in black and white and you can say, hey, we want to do X, Y, and Z, or look at what's happening in our community, or see how we compare to other health centers on this data point, they have a hard time arguing with that, because honestly, it's there in black and white. And you might be able to say, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Or what about this? But honestly, if it's a data point from different data sets, then it really is much harder to, I won't say you can't argue with it, but it makes it much harder to argue with it. So again, just keep that in mind when we're talking about data here. Try not to get intimidated, but just realize the importance of it as we're working on our workforce plans, and frankly, everything else related to workforce. So as we get started and really sort of dive into things today, I would love to hear it from you all. So our data profiles have been out for a while, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But how familiar are you with our data profile dashboards? Have you seen them before? Is this completely new to you? Or have you just sort of dipped your toe in previously and are excited to find out more? So, go ahead and comment with the chat. You can just say familiar, unfamiliar, seen it, haven't seen it, whatever you want to put in there is great with me. But I would just love to inform me during our session today, and also our speakers in our next two sessions. So we had someone that said, they're somewhat familiar, you've seen them, but you have not had the chance to do it, to dive in deeply. Yes, absolutely. I feel like there are a lot of people in this particular stance. We also had someone say that they're somewhat familiar. So, we definitely have some people that kind of have heard of it, but they're not really exactly sure either exactly what they look like, how you utilize them, and then maybe what we can use the data for. So we're going to do that in the next 2 days. And then we also had someone said that they're unfamiliar, but they're pretty new as well. Well, even if you're unfamiliar with it, or you have somewhat of an understanding with them, you're in for a treat, because the next 2 days after this session, and then over the next 3 sessions, hopefully you'll have a much better idea of our resource itself, and then also how you can utilize the data that's contained in our data profile dashboards to really help your workforce efforts. All right, so second question for you guys. So how comfortable are you with diving into workforce data? And why or why not may you be comfortable with this? Personally, before I started doing this, I've just found data just to be flat out intimidating. There are just a lot of numbers on a page, and I wasn't really sure how to put things together. So would love to hear from you guys if you have worked with data before. All right, I'll give you guys 1 more minute. All right, not very comfortable, a little, have some trepidation. Yes, absolutely. So, and that can be something, like I said, very normal reaction, or at least it was to me when I started, especially looking at these data profiles. But honestly, you shouldn't, don't let the numbers intimidate you, because they're going to help you tell a story and really help to inform your data workforce efforts. So, like I said, by the end of these 3 sessions, and then also with the one-on-one TA that Star Center staff offers you guys with your data profile dashboards, we really want you guys to be comfortable. And we are here to support you in looking at the data and really helping you to understand what it means and, where you can go from here. So again, thank you guys all for sharing. And, hopefully by the end of these 3 sessions, we can help you to understand what you can do with the data, and figure out exactly what it is that you can that you need by looking at this data. So thank you guys. All right, so data profile dashboards. Why did we end up here? Why did we end up with this resource? Well, when we were first awarded our NTAP grant, we started looking around for information or data around health center workforce. And what we found was that there really wasn't anything out there that looked specifically at the health center workforce. And in addition, there was nothing that really put workforce data into the context of being able to understand those workforce issues more broadly, and frankly, how we could address them. So we eventually came up with putting health center data in a report so we could open that conversation. We partnered with colleagues at JSI, or John Snow Inc., to develop these dashboards each year. And again, you'll hear from the team on future sessions, our colleagues from JSI in our future sessions. So, by having all of these data points there, it would really, again, start the conversation. So since it wasn't there, we decided to go ahead and put one together. So our first data profiles were released as PDF reports. You might have seen them previously. They look a little something like this. And so those were released from 2015 to 2018. They were static PDF reports. And I mention this, even though we're in our third iteration of having them in our dashboards, but you might have seen these before. And frankly, they're very, while they look a little bit different and they're more interactive now, they're essentially the same thing. And what we wanted to do is produce and distribute them each year to health center CEOs. Because of the nature of the privacy and confidentiality of the data that we use, we are only allowed to send them out to health center CEOs. Now, if you're listening to this and you work in HR at your health center, what you want to do is when they're released, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, you want to make sure that your executive director or CEO is aware that they're being released, and ask them to send you all of the information, because unfortunately we can resend login information, but we can only do it, only send it to the CEO. So, again, sent to your CEOs. And then really what we wanted to have these data profiles do is to utilize, for you guys as health centers to utilize them, and then also have state partners like PCAs and other national partners. So obviously, we are a national entity, and then some other national partners, to be able to start the conversation about workforce. So really, there they are. They're, everything that you, ever wanted to know about your health center as it relates to workforce, they are there. All the information is there. And through now what we started as PDF report, in 2019, we released them in a data profile dashboard format. And they are contained in Tableau. And honestly, you guys, Tableau has opened up a whole new world as it allows the user to interact with the data at many levels. As I mentioned, Eric is going to, with JSI, is going to be discussing and showcasing what it looks like in the third part of the series this week. But essentially, you can compare your information and any one of the data points on your dashboard to other health centers of your same size, grantee type, in your state, nationally, you name it. You can do a lot of comparison, and you can focus on items and ways to compare it that really is most relevant to you and most relevant to the data point. So if you want to compare something to all other health centers around the United States, with your, of your size, or you just want to compare a certain data point to your state, you can do all of those things. It also allows you, and something we've actually been doing since about the third year we were delivering these profile dashboards, is we also offer trend data. So you can see from various data points how things have been trending from year to year. And this trend data can be really powerful, because if you're trending in a way that you want to go in, then that's a good thing. But if you're trending in a way that you're like, not really sure about this, then maybe you can catch some things before they become, something that's negative and you'd like to mitigate. So it allows you to do that as well. One note about our dashboards is that health centers, like I said, can view their own data, and our state partners at PCAs can view data from the perspective of any health center at the state. So for our PCA partners, you all do need to fill out a data use agreement that was sent to you electronically yesterday. And so unfortunately, if you don't sign a data use agreement, if you're a PCA, then unfortunately we have to, you're not able to have access until you do sign that data use agreement. Obviously, with each particular health center, since it's your own data, you don't have to sign that data use agreement, but our state partners do need to sign that data use agreement. And then there was a question that came in that I thought was relevant that I wanted to answer right away, that, can PCAs see all the state health centers together or just individual health centers? So we do allow a roll-up of sorts to be seen and see where there are specific data points that are, outside of the norm. That's going to be talked a little bit about in session 2 and 3. So you can see those, but really you're able to see, you're not really able to see all the data aggregated, but you're able to see where the data points are aggregated to or from when it comes to the flagging points, and the flagging points are going to be covered in subsequent sessions there. And thank you, Mariah. She put the data use agreement form in the chat there if you're a PCA and would like to fill that out right now. So really, at the end of the day, the data profiles allow you to, with context, because you know the context of what's going on at your health center, allow you to see the story of your health center workforce. And that is really important because all data is going to eventually tell a story. And by sort of, taking the numbers and putting it with the context of things that are going on at your health center, it allows you to have a story. And honestly, stories can be very powerful. And even if it's, you're like, well, this is just, health center workforce. Well, stories can be powerful even if they're about health center workforce. And we really want to give you the tools by utilizing these data profiles to be able to understand and retell the story of your health center workforce. It's going to change, as I mentioned. It's data is dynamic, and so is your health center workforce, and so it's going to change over time. But as you see your data profile dashboards each year, you can understand the story of what was going on at your health center for each year that they are that they were put together. So as we wrap up today, I would welcome you guys to put any more questions that you guys have in the chat. But I just wanted to highlight the other 2 of the 3-part webinar series that are coming up. So it's going to be the same time, 3 to 3:30 Eastern, on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week on June 23rd and 24th. And again, tomorrow, Alexia and Pamela are going to be talking about using data to inform your workforce efforts. And then on Thursday, Eric is going to demo a data profile dashboard and showcase the features of our dashboards there. So you don't want to miss that. Stay tuned for those sessions. We really, you'll be an expert in data profile dashboards by the end of that. And then wanted to also showcase some key dates besides our webinar series here that's in the first bullet point. But I just wanted to let you guys know that on June 28th, next Monday, the data profile dashboards are going to be released to health center executive directors. And really what that looks like is that you or that health center CEOs will get an email to say either that their login has been created or has been updated. And so they will receive that from the Star Center. And again, it will be your login information. It will be, it's a secure login. It is keyed and cryptic and all that kind of good stuff with my non-technical speak self. And so it'll be a secure login that you all can use to see your individual dashboard there next Monday. And then, as I mentioned previously, PCAs can sign their data use agreements between now and June 30th, and they will get logins on July the 1st. And so that will be where you can see all the health centers in your state and your state roll-up reports there that you can take a look at. And then I just wanted to mention that, again, we do offer ongoing one-on-one TA for our data profile dashboards. So if you get in there and you say, you know what, I really need some help figuring out what our data is telling us, even after you hear Pamela and Alexia and Eric talk a little bit about our dashboards. We're here for you. We want to answer your questions, and we really want you to be able to utilize these to inform your workforce efforts. So feel free to reach out to us at any time after you have received your data profile dashboard login. All right. So we have a couple of questions coming in as we near the end of our time together day. So first question is, do you have any examples of how a health center has used the data profile dashboard? So yes, actually. So you'll really dive deep into all of the data points going forward. But one of our data points is that, and actually most of our data comes from UDS each year. And so one of the data points is the percentage of the physician staff that are NHSC providers. And while that might be important, because NHSC providers or National Health Service Corps providers are generally on a time commitment, whether it's 2 or 3 years, they have a time commitment that they have said that, okay, because I'm getting loan repayment, I will, through the NHSC, I will work at your health center for 3 years. Well, you just want to be aware of that, because if you have a high percentage of physicians or provider staff that are utilizing the NHSC loan repayment program, there could very well be a chance that they might leave the health center after their commitment is over. And so by understanding the amount of providers that you have, the percentage of your provider staff that are NHSC, either scholars or loan providers, you really can be aware that you will probably need to be recruiting for that position at the end of that term. So again, lots of other examples there, but just one of those pieces that showcases how you can use the data that is presented for your health center into something where it's usable and you can take it to inform your workforce efforts. And we have another question that came in. It says, like health centers, do only PCA CEOs get access? Great question. So actually anybody at a PCA who is going to interact with the data in any sort of way needs to sign a data use agreement. So if you are a PCA and you have 5 people at your PCA that want to interact with the data in your state, every single person that's going to interact with the data needs to sign a data use agreement. So you would utilize the link that Mariah has put into the chat, and every individual person needs to fill that out. And then once you do that, then each individual person is going to receive a login information with access to the state. So great question there. All right, so I think that's about the last question there. Mariah did mention there is a post-session evaluation that you can fill out, and we would greatly appreciate that. Again, thank you all for your time today. We really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern to dive into a little bit about what data is, what you can do with your data to inform your workforce efforts. And in the meantime, if there's anything else we can do for you, let us know. But we look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Thanks, everybody.